It's 5 minutes on top of the hour. Of course, vetting always changes our plans, doesn't it? But let me tell you about the top stories this hour before we go back to Parliament. Well, armed robbers lay siege on Ogome, a small community in Somalia, robbing residents at will. And the police station there is also not exempted. We'll bring you the inside story. And dealing with zongos and urban slums in Ghana, Alhaji Sadiq Boniface rolls out elaborate plan as he's vetted by the appointment committee of Parliament. Of course, he's talking to people who themselves are scrambling for the $50 million that's about to begin. They wanted to start in their constituencies. We'll bring you more details on that. And of course, ahead in the bulletin this hour, the Road Safety Commission is here to tell us all about fresh measures introduced to curb the growing road carnage in the country. Those are the top stories. My name is Gifty Dapaah, and this is The Pulse. Many thanks for staying. Please stay on. We'll bring you all the details about what armed robbers are doing in Ogome. But at this point, the minister in charge of aviation has been vetted in Parliament. Let's go over to Parliament and take a listen. And once that is done, we'll come over and give you all the details there is to be given.
To people from that particular beautiful region. And I believe I'll take that up. You can have my assurance. I'll treat it as a special project.
Okay, now we'll come to the minority leader.
Chairman, let me join you in congratulating. And to state that we are encouraged that you continue many of the initiatives as expanding airport infrastructure to facilitate air travel in our country. I'm also particularly encouraged that she promises to work with the Minister for Communication to bring a terminal end to the age-old conflict between GMET and the Airport Company Limited over the sharing of revenue to improve the work of meteorological services. But Chairman, my first question is fuel tax. There is 17.5% tax on domestic airlines. Does government, through you, have an intention to lower that tax regime in order to make domestic airlines cost cheaper?
Mr. Chairman, we have undertaken in our manifesto to abolish it altogether. So I will pursue that.
Should we expect a reduction in aviation fuel even in the midst of global increases in fuel prices for Ghana?
Mr. Chairman, I'll liaise with the Energy Ministry to take a look at the figures that we have. Because as I speak, we compare favorably in the ECOWAS sub-region. We are lower than Nigeria and a bit higher than Togo and Cote d'Ivoire. So we'll monitor and see what can be done about that.
Chairman, is the nominee aware that Ghana lost Category 1 status with the United States of America and was downgraded? And if she's aware, what steps will she take for the restoration of our standing?
Mr. Chairman, we have already discussed that, and plans are afoot, working towards getting back our Category 1 to enable us, if inshallah we have a national carrier, to be able to go to the United States of America.
Chairman, what plans are afoot? Can the nominee share that with this committee?
Mr. Chairman, it's processes that Aviation, Ghana Aviation Authority has already started. So if I'm given the nod, recommended and approved, I think I will facilitate the quick delivery of that project. Thank you.
Chairman, the nominee have made a commitment to bringing back smiles on Ghanaians, and particularly the young girls of a caliber who are trained as air hostess. Will they be assured of employment with a new national carrier?
Mr. Chairman, they are the reason, the main reason for national development. Because, like I said, the ancillary services alone will carry so many people. And I'm waiting for the day that I'll see our young girls and our young men strutting their stuff inside our national carrier. That will be a very joyous day for me in particular, and I'm sure for many Ghanaians in general. Thank you.
Chairman, will the nominee pursue a policy agenda to decouple air navigation services from the regulatory function of the GCA?
Mr. Chairman, that is in progress, and it's to conform with the international standards. So I've been briefed. It's almost done.
Chairman, will the nominee put some timeline to this initiative?
Mr. Chairman, I cannot, because I haven't initiated that process, but I've been briefed that plans are far, because there's no way out. Ghana has to have it done. And I can assure you that I will supervise effectively for the decoupling to be successful. Thank you.
Chairman, in the nominee's answer to an earlier question, there seemed to be Koforidua left with KEPCOs in terms of initiative for airstrips. Will she do something about these two towns, and when?
Mr. Chairman, I know that Cape Coast, we have 3,000 acres of land that is being protected. And very soon, I think some good news can come out of there. That's why, with regard to Koforidua, my former minister's hometown, we'll look at it. We'll look at it. It's on the drawing board.
Is it because your former minister is sitting behind you in solidarity, or it's a commitment you make? And I just heard Chairman say that Koforidua is too close. Probably Chairman was not listening to your vision. I heard Koforidua London and Koforidua New York. And Chairman wants to hear Bekwai Sao Paulo. Will that be done? And that you will not consider any town. There seems to be another worrying impression that if you are building an airport in Ho, you are anticipating that it's Ho Accra. No, travel from Ho to any part. I heard you about the Sahelian region and the development of Tamale Airport. Chairman, that brings me to my final question. Our hearts are warmed with your commitment to get Tamale Airport, but I would have wished that your numbers were broken down. Tamale International Airport, there was a first $100 million, and there is a second, which I don't know whether you converted it from euro to dollar to arrive at your $170 million. But what I am particular about is the use of the Tamale International Airport to expand exported exports to the other parts of the world. I mean, if you have, for instance, Nasia or Lebuga irrigation, and you're able to have these horticultural crops, it will take 5-6 hours to, I'm sure anytime you are flying from London, coming home, when you get to Tamale, you are told just some 40 minutes or 54 minutes to Accra. Now, it means that if you are able to cultivate any exportable agricultural produce, it will take you 5-6 hours to Germany. I do know that there was an initiative to build cold stores, particularly for the Kumasi International Airport and Tamale. Will you pursue that so that they can store this agricultural produce for purpose of export?
Mr. Chairman, in one of my answers, I did say that the Tamale Airport will be used to cut fresh produce from our farms that are there. With regard to the cold stores, I haven't cited any document on that. I'll find out if there's any and take it up from there.
In fact, you will. I don't know whether the Honorable Titus Glover was part of it. I know that we, at the time, sponsored now Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Nashiro, as Chief Executive of EDIF, together with the Honorable Amadou Sorgo and some colleagues from Parliament, to visit the airport at Turkey and elsewhere in order that we develop the particular cool source. So given that it didn't exist, will you initiate that to facilitate exports from Kumasi and Tamale?
Sure, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. I'm glad today my ranking has been very brief for us. Thank you. Honorable Muntaka is solidarizing with her mother, so she declined to answer the question. I have many challenges with the internal travel. I'm particularly looking at those of us who want to leave our vehicles behind, travel by air. The parking for, as it appears for domestic travelers, are not considered at all. Kumasi, you find some areas which if you are not lucky, you get out your shoes, you cannot take them into the plane. Accra, there's no provision for the domestic travelers at all. I don't know what you do with the airport company to consider the international travelers also in providing for parking spaces and so on. The domestic travelers.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. I'll take it up.
Chairman, I was going to ask for one more opportunity. Honorable Minister Designate for Aviation, I'm sorry I have to come back. Ghanaian passengers on British Airways have some treatment that many are unhappy about. And it's been reported widely the way they are treated on arrival as Heathrow defies what is dignifying for a respected international traveler. Relative to that is the charge on kilos. If you were flying a certain airline to Nigeria, you are treated differently, and in the Ghanaian case, you lose off in terms of kilos. Can you assure this committee that you will take urgent steps to address this poor treatment method to our passengers, and then also to ratify everything for passengers? Thank you. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The same was handled in signed the people to sign a petition to the airline when they were traveling. So that's one option. The other option is to break the monopoly of the British Airways flights. I'm not against carriers coming in, but I think some airfares are outrageously high. And because we don't have any direct flight to the UK, they have a monopoly. So I believe the competition that can come in also can take care of the lowering of fares. With regard to what happens in Heathrow, it's a bit beyond me or the ministry, in the sense that once you are out of our flight information region, which is the FIR, and beyond the shores of Africa, I don't know how it's going to pan out. So I'll do some more inquiries and see what one can do about it, because the passenger treatment both here and there, if they had the problems here, I can assure you of maybe within a week or two I'll have a meeting on it. But in Heathrow, I don't know the locals I'll have traveling all the way there to deal with that issue, but we'll have a look at it. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. We will want you and the Civil Aviation Authority to negotiate returning us to the Terminal 3, Terminal 5, which is much easier than where they've taken us to now, especially for those who are connecting. Yes. Now, the one message is from Sunyani. They want to know what is the plan of the ministry about the Sunyani Airport runway.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The runway in Sunyani is a problem because the runway is out of. It was that aircraft couldn't land. So a few months now, there's no flight to Tamale. To Sunyani. And coupled with that, the runway where it is now, there's a problem. There's a valley on one end and a township. So there's no way we can expand. So the option we're thinking about the possibility of either moving it from there entirely or making do with a short runway, which is about 1,600 and something meters. So it's a dilemma. $5 million was dedicated to it, but it's hanging. So we'll have to have a critical look at the Sunyani Airport. It's unfortunate. I commiserate with them, but I think we'll have to discuss it further to see what.
We need to be able to make a statement there. So just be on notice that Ghanaians want to know the value for money situation. So when you go there, and then plan for an entirely new international airport in Accra?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. It's in Ningo Pram. We have a whopping 61,000 acres allocated to the people of Ghana to have a new airport entirely.